right, welcome to another Friday night episode of Keto Rocks. I'm Jim Hobbs, and on the left or right side of your screen is my carnivore co-host, Brian Damage Forsythe of the band Kix and Rhino Bucket. And before we introduce our returning guest, she's part of the family, I want to kind of talk to Brian about his out with the old, in with the new, water under the bridge situation that he came home to. So Brian, let's just go ahead and get the hot water thing out of the way.
Okay. Well, it's one of those things where I left town, when was it, Friday, and Saturday morning Shannon texts me and says there's no hot water. So I had her go down and check the pilot, and she tried to relight it and it wouldn't light, and I had trouble at one point after I had moved in here, because my water heater, well, my heat and my water heater run on propane. I have a big propane tank, and at one point I didn't know how to read the meter, or I couldn't find the meter, and I ran out of propane, so I had to relight the water heater at one point. And I remember it was really hard because you couldn't see where the flame was, and I finally got it lit through a bunch of, I don't know, just trying different things. So I knew it was going to be difficult, but she didn't seem to be able to do it. And I said, well, you're going to have to hold out till I get home. So I didn't get home till Monday afternoon. And so I go down there and I try to light it. And I thought maybe the little spark thing that you click, the clicker, it didn't seem to be sparking. And then all of a sudden I thought I heard something, and I look underneath and there's a little puddle. I'm like, oh, that's not a good sign. So I pulled the front door off of it, and you could see the insulation was wet in there.
Ooh,
so
never good.
Yeah, so I knew what was up. So I had to call the plumber, and of course, they're just swamped. So they couldn't guarantee, they had to get to me after hours. So they got here, oh man, it was close to 11 o'clock at night. Wow. They were like 10:30 maybe. And yeah, so first the guy walks in. I told him, he goes, where is it located? When I talked to him on the phone, I said, it's in the garage. And he goes, oh, good. Okay. He arrives and discovers, I guess mine was it's got a vent that goes straight out, because it's in the garage, but it's actually the basement.
I hear you.
So they had the exhaust goes out, and I guess when it's in a regular basement, it's different. So he didn't even have the right replacement
tools. Right.
He didn't have the right unit. So he's like, oh man. and apparently mine is some like a high-end one there, or it's not as common as the regular one. So anyway, he talked me into getting the tankless, because that one they had at their warehouse.
We love ours, by the way. We love our on-demand tankless water. It's been awesome.
Well, yeah, I've always heard good things about those, and I've seen them in different places, and I know they work really well. They're like instant, right. Instant hot. So and then he quotes me the price, and I'm like, oh, and plus it's after hours, so there's it's like an extra $1,000 or so on top of it, with all with all that stuff. So, and I said, well, he goes, otherwise, like if they scheduled it during the regular hours, it would be 3 more days before they could even fit me in.
Ooh.
And and Shannon had been out of the hot water.
She needed hot water.
So anyway, I just went with it, and
how many hours later did you have hot water?
I think when it was time to go to bed and they were done, it was 4 a.m.
Oh my, those poor plumbers, and you too, coming back to that. I mean, that's a long day.
Yeah, and they had to turn around and get up the next day for their normal schedule. So I didn't. I mean, even though they apparently make really good money doing the after hours thing, it's just like I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. But there's still a couple things they have to come back and finish up though, which has me concerned. I hope they come back.
What, have you paid them already?
Yes, I actually have.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, then hopefully they come back then. Now, is that on demand? Is that electric now, or is that also gas?
No, it's propane.
Propane. So even your on demand is propane still.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
but it's
but you have hot water.
It's a nice small unit, well, since you have one.
Yeah. Well, same thing. Ours is in the garage. It took up a whole corner of the garage. I mean, and the no longer, have that 6 foot. I mean, that's not 6 foot, but it's big.
Yeah. Well, mine was
tank.
up on a little pedestal too, so it made it even bigger.
Yeah. So, to have it replaced with just a little box on the wall above the washer and dryer gave us so much room in the corner. As a matter of fact, that's where our freezer is. That's one of our freezers to keep our meat. So it ended up being a blessing when we had to replace it. And man, it's nothing but good things to say about it. So
yeah, I can't wait till they come back and finish.
Well, hopefully
they have to hook up that, I forget what they call it. The thing, it's supposed to hook up under the sink up here, like in the furthest bathroom. So it would be like the master bath back there, but some kind of thing that helps the circulation. So it pushes it through faster.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what that is, but
they need to come back and do it.
Yeah, they have to hook that up.
Well, good. Well, how was the show? We didn't talk about the casino show that you guys did in Cumberland, Maryland. Is that where you guys were Saturday?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, they were predicting record heats and all that, and it was hot, but actually it wasn't as hot as they were predicting. Like when we got up there, it was kind of actually nice up there in the mountains because it's in the mountains. So
right.
There's a nice breeze blowing. Like if you stood in the direct sunlight, it was hot, but luckily the most of the stage was shaded. So, Steve would be out front, but he could always just come back and take a break from the sun,
Gotcha. Well, I'm sure I thought about you guys because it was hot here in Virginia. I mean, it was like close to 100 degrees, 98, I think it was here. It was hot.
Yeah, it was upper 90s. I felt bad for the crowd that was just standing in the sun, Yeah,
they were being baked. They were being baked. But I thought about you guys, but then I also thought about, well, it can't be as hot as their Houston show. So I'm sure you're going up. It's not as bad as Houston.
Yeah. Well, we all had our eye on Jimmy too, hoping that he could get through there. But he said there was one point where he was starting to feel it, but he said he had like a second wind. He got through it, no problem.
Good. Awesome. All right. Well, now we get a chance to bring on our sister, our guest who's been on many times and who we love having her share her inner thoughts. And that's Miss Carrie Husband from Oregon. So welcome back.
Nice to be here. We have not had the temperatures like you guys have. Not at all. In fact, today will be our first really warm day. We're getting up to 76. We've been in the 60s, low 60s.
Wow.
So hear temperatures in the 90s, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well,
I'm a 60-degree girl. I don't like getting above into even the 70s. It starts getting too hot. So
no, I'm with you there. But this is Virginia, and Virginia is one of the most bipolar states there is. So our weather goes from 95 on Saturday to 98 on Sunday, and then Monday, the high of 64 degrees. So perfect weather that you would like.
Gosh.
So it drops down to 40. I mean, it drops down to cold, and it's damp. And yesterday was cold as well. It's not supposed to be, I don't think, probably at the high, maybe in the 60s again today, but it's been dark, rainy. Yeah. So it's just a 180. So you never know what you're going to get with the Virginia. You got to pack a heavy coat, and then you also got to pack shorts because you never know who's going to show up and when the party's going to get started.
Yeah, well, for me, traveling back and forth between here and there, like the previous trip, I had to bring my big heavy leather, like winter leather jacket for the M3 weekend.
Yeah.
And this weekend it was like, I don't even need a jacket.
Yeah.
This weekend, I mean.
Yeah. It's crazy. But I don't know where we want to go with the show. I know what I wanted to kind of share, and I think once I share, Carrie, you'll be able to share as well, and so will Brian. So I posted something yesterday. I've been doing a lot of just resting and meditating and just being. And one of the things that came to me just in my reflective meditation state was the fact that, we're human beings. We're beings. We're just to be. And, and going back and looking at how cavemen used to live their lives and seeing how we evolved, but really we would go out and go hunt, come back, gather around the fire, share a meal, and just lay around and philosophize. We talk, we and just be. And then when someone says, "Hey, I'm getting hungry again," well, they get up and we go, go kill something and bring it back, and we enjoy it together. And that was community. And we really have been programmed from the time that we were born here, at least in the United States, to be programmed with, you got to go to school, got to do your homework, got to do sports. And that keeps evolving to levels after levels after levels. The bar keeps being raised to get busier and busier and busier. I mean, Brian, and I don't know about you, Carrie, but I know Brian and I, growing up, you didn't have a cell phone. You didn't have any way to be communicated with or contacted once you were outside the house, because the phone set on the wall in the kitchen, and you didn't make long distance phone calls. I'm not going to pick up the phone and call Carrie unless it was on Sunday or reduced minutes and people were watching this or have no clue what I'm even talking about. But that's how life used to be. And so when I left to go take a walk to 7-Eleven or Highs with my friends to go buy candy or Slurpee or something, there was no way for anyone to get a hold of me, and you were truly free from your family and your world. You were just with whoever you're with. You were being. Mm-hmm. But we somehow have been programmed that we always have to be doing, or you're lazy. And to sit back and just really just be reflective is really a lost art. People don't do it very much. And if you do it, you better have thick skin, because the rumor mill is going to say you're lazy. I mean, he doesn't do anything. All he does is lay around and talk. All he does is lay around and doesn't even say something at times. But the reality of it is that's part of just being. But we work ourselves. And there is a point to this, everyone, so stay with me. So we work our way up the ladder of what people expect of us in order to meet whatever their expectation is of us. And we give away our power, our control, and we put it in the hands of people who we do not even know. And so, here we are in 2022, we have more obese people, more stressed out people. We have the horrific incident that took place yesterday in Texas, and this is recorded on Wednesday, so it happened on Tuesday since this airs on Friday. But you're seeing more and more of this boiling point taking place and things happening, because we no longer know how to just be and listen and truly have true community. We've given away our peace. And so, Brian posts, I think last week about, first they give you the food to eat, and then they give you the pill to solve the disease that the food caused. And, and it really is this, and I think we'll get into this with your story, Carrie, but I had this vision this morning of, if there was, well, let me go back. I posted something this week that said this: the truth does not care if you believe in it, but a lie does. And so there's an old adage that says, "Thy protests too loudly," which means you're probably lying. And so that's my mom used to say that, or Peggy says it all the time. You heard that one too, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when they're constantly telling you this is the American standard diet you should be eating. This is what you should be doing. And like Brian posted this week that what Crisco was.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Well, you know, it too, just to interject, because I had had a friend comment on that when I did the seed oil thing,
right?
Saying something about finding some Crisco, like as if like that's old school, like for some reason that's better. But I was like, no, that's where it all started. Like he didn't even know that. He thought Crisco was like some kind of natural thing, like lard or something, I guess. Because they trick you into thinking it's the same, and it's funny.
Yeah, I did not know Crisco stood for what it said. I heard that before, but it kind of is in and out. But to read that and then to think, what's it, 114 years later, here we are, and they finally determined that, guess what? Crisco is not heart healthy for you.
Yeah, Crisco's the reason the health has gone downhill. Yeah.
Right. That's where it all started from. And so as Brian says, so here's where we're at. So if your burner was on your stove and you put your hand on it, you are going to burn yourself. And you would learn not to burn yourself. You're like, well, I'm not going to do that again. That's a lesson that I will not forget. That's what truth does. Truth doesn't go away, and it doesn't care whether you believe it. You can keep hurting yourself thinking that you can put your hand in the fire. Now, what the medical profession does, or big pharma, they said, oh, you can do that. We're going to help you do that. We're going to sell you a fire retardant glove, mitt. You can put that on there. You won't burn yourself. You just got to come see us every 6 months, pay us the monthly fee for your renewal of your mitt, and you're good. And we do that over and over and over again, when the reality of it is all we need to do is we don't need the mitt. We just need to stay away from the fire. And so we are constantly going to doctors, and I see studies all the time. I see what people are posting. I see all the medicines that people are on. And the question you have to start asking yourself, if they need to prescribe a medicine or a prescription to you, then have they fixed the problem yet? They're constantly telling you to go back, stick your hand on the fire, but we can let you do that for a prolonged period of time without you getting burned. And you're spending all this money and you're lining their pockets and you're giving them the profits, when the reality, you just need to take the mitt off. You don't need the mitt if you don't keep going back to the fire. So here we are in 2022, and every day the majority of Americans keep walking back into a store and to the fire and buying all the crap that they've created to keep burning you, so you can go to the white coat to buy the mitt to keep you from burning yourself, so you won't burn yourself up. And we do it over and over again. And the number of people who call me up and or tell me all these issues, but yet they still go into the fire. I'm asking you all, I'm not telling you, I'm just asking you, take a break and think about what's been told to you. And is it truly beneficial? If they got to keep masking it, then they haven't solved the issue. The real truth doesn't cost you anything. Stay away from the fire. That's it. Don't go into the fire, and keep a log and start to find out what makes you feel good and what makes you burn your hand up. So with that, Carrie, I think you got a story to share with us.
I do. I do want to say something about that, though. What the white coats do is they help us resist personal accountability for our own health. That's what they do. Because whenever you're resisting that which your body is telling you something is wrong, so a fire alarm goes off in the body. The fire alarm is telling you something is wrong. So either you've got issues with your blood pressure, you've got issues with your insulin, the weight is going up on the scale, asthma is being affected, you're starting to get swollen joints, there's some arthritis things that are setting in, and the fire alarm is going off. And so then we go to the white coats and they're like, well, we're just going to go ahead and put a Band-Aid on it to minimize the symptom. But yet they never tell you, there's a resolve to this. Because again, money, the white coats, the way the whole system has been built is in order to make money, because the system won't work the way it's been built if there's healthy people.
Right.
Correct.
It just doesn't work. And so then if you don't look at the entire system, we focus in on this little micro element of it instead of seeing the whole macro of how the whole system has been created with money and profits. You won't realize that it's all connected. The pharmaceutical companies are connected to the food companies, which are connected to the chemical companies. You start looking at the bigger system, then it'll show you why it isn't working and why we choose to resist, because it's easier and because they say they can fix us without us going to the root problem, because the root problem is our own personal responsibility for that which we are putting into our bodies. And if you don't know what you're putting in your body, then you're being ignorant and you're feeding the system that is continuing to crank out sick people.
Well, and yeah. And then on top of that is the food has become so addictive that
bingo. That's it.
That people would, they're so addicted that they'd rather just take the pill so they can keep on
exactly
eating the food.
No personal responsibility.
Yeah,
zero. Yeah. And so those addictions, we just keep feeding the addiction. So my story comes in that I started getting a lot of asthma issues. And I mean, it started when I was a child, and it was stress induced, and that's due to trauma. And we don't need to go there because all of that's been neutralized and I'm healthy and well, and I've resolved all of those things. But over time, when I ended up getting a benzene overload for being in the beauty industry as a cosmetologist and all the chemicals, things started really going awry. And my lungs started, it's like everything just happened all at once. So my lungs really started being a problem. And as a fitness instructor who would take the class with the students, I was having issues with my breathing. So I couldn't necessarily talk and share with my class. And my husband and I mean, he had to kind of do more of that because my breathing was compromised. And I finally got to the point where it was affecting my life so much that there were things that I just couldn't do. So before, maybe running 5 or 6 miles was now being reduced to 2 or 3 because my lungs were just not handling it. And I had actually gone to another personal trainer friend of mine, and she had said, you know what, Carrie, you need to really look at your food at this point. And you need to go into an anti-inflammatory diet. And I'm like, anti-inflammatory diet? What are you talking about? I mean, this was nothing. What are you talking about? And so she just kind of started highlighting some things. And I had already eliminated sugar. I mean, I had already figured out the sugar thing. That was the first thing when I got into taking back my health. The first time I lost weight was sugar went out the window. I mean, I haven't had any sugar for like, I don't know, 12 years now, 13 years. I just don't do sugar. That's why my electrolyte drink doesn't have any sweeteners in it, because I'm used to operating without it. My taste buds, they just don't crave it anymore. So then I went and got a book that was talking about the elimination diet and doing an anti-inflammatory way of eating. I'm telling you, I mean, I cut out freaking everything. And I remember looking at what I could eat. And then I found out I had a histamine intolerance. And so that it was like narrowing this list down, and it just like pared down to just about nothing. And I remember being in tears, absolute tears, and going, what am I going to eat now? Because I felt like my life was over. This is how we know we have a food addiction. When all of a sudden you're faced with, okay, what am I going to do to take my health back? Everything gets pared down, and all of a sudden you feel like your life is in an end because I don't have anything fun to eat anymore. Well, then that's when you realize that you are living to eat instead of eating to live. And that was a huge paradigm shift for me, absolute huge paradigm shift. And I had to come to terms with it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a food addict. I'm a food junkie. I'm a foodie. I love freaking food. I plan my meals. I look forward to it. I'm going to have this for dinner and breakfast, and I'm planning a week out, and I'm going to make this. I mean, I cannot believe how much of my life was focused on my food for pleasure, which was creating profits for somebody else.
Right.
Which was sacrificing my own health. So needless to say, when I went through the elimination diet, dealt with my histamine intolerance, it ended up becoming a ketogenic diet. I didn't even know about the ketogenic diet at all. But all of a sudden my breathing got better, but then I started losing my hair. So that's where the back research of what was happening with my food choices. And then I realized my need for electrolytes, that's why I was losing my hair, because my body wasn't holding on to the water anymore. So it was flushing all of those minerals out and things, because the carbohydrates, I wasn't holding water in my body anymore. And so what ended up happening is my breathing got better. I lost my hair, found out I needed to do the electrolytes, and then everything just started rebalancing again. You know, I still have issues with my lungs because there was some permanent damage through some issues with getting pneumonia and walking pneumonia and things like that. So there's still some damage, scar tissue that happened within my lungs, but it is so much better. I can't even tell you how much better it is. It's just, I just don't fight with my lungs anymore. I just don't fight with them. And when you get down like where I'm at now with the carnivore diet, because I didn't even realize that some of the oxalates that were in the vegetables I was eating, because I think I shared with you guys, I've been on carnivore now like 2 months, full 2 months carnivore. Even some of the things that I was eating, because I was having a kale smoothie, you know, lots of kale every single morning. And I had done that for I don't know, decade, and some other things that are allowed in the ketogenic diet that just still were not working for me. And so all of that to say, now when I eat, it is for the nutrition my body needs so that I can have wellness. And you know, it doesn't mean that I still don't fantasize. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, because I still face that, right? I still have to go to the grocery store, and there are still temptations out there. But my why I'm doing this, which is what I started with you guys at the very, very beginning, was figuring out my why. Why am I doing this? And this is so that I can have health and wellness, take my body back so that as I continue to mature, you know, I'm marching on to the 50-year mark, that I can do things that I'm seeing other people aren't able to do, because they have chosen to go through the pharmaceutical route, not take personal accountability and responsibility for the food that they put in, or even understanding what food is doing to the body, what foods to avoid, what foods to gravitate towards, and how does the body system work? You know, we're talking about external systems with the pharmaceutical companies, chemical companies, food companies, but what about the entire body system? Let's bring it back home. What does the body need? What does it not need? And so, you know, over almost 50 years, I've had to just kind of fine tune it. And now my husband and I mean, we're still doing things. One of our favorite pleasures we do every day now is we go out and we throw the Frisbee with each other. You know, he's going to be here in a couple days. He will be 58. No, he'll be 59. No, 58. Sorry, 58. And I'm 49. And we're running around the park throwing the Frisbee to each other. And who does that at this age? Who does that? I don't see anybody my age or my husband's age out there running around like kids throwing a Frisbee. But that's because of taking personal responsibility for our health and making sure that it's a priority, because everything just runs better. You sleep better, your body works better, your mind has more cognition, you have just more energy. And so it just made sense. It made sense. And then the benefits far outweigh me going to the grocery store and looking at something that I used to eat on a regular basis. And I know as soon as I grab that and I eat it, I'm going to feel like crap and I'm going to start going backwards again. And I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm just not willing. The benefits far outweigh my tongue saying, oh, I used to love that. Oh, maybe just this one time. No, not just this one time. Put the freaking Haagen-Dazs down. You don't need it. I know it tastes good. You don't need it. You know, you don't need it.
No, so, I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. And the reality of it is, if you didn't have all those processed foods in a grocery store and you just had one ingredient food, how much smaller would our grocery stores be? Because 90% of that grocery store is nothing more than the processed crap that they're selling you, and they have formulated it so it is addictive to you. They use the sugar and the salt and the fat, and they some of it's fried, some of it's not, but they use all that so you become addictive to that food. And whether it's fast food with McDonald's fries, the hamburgers, as Brian says, the hot apple pies, the chocolate sundaes for only $1, and they'll give it to you. I mean, look at Costco. You go into Costco and you come out of, they have the food. So when you check out, you can't check out without seeing all the food, that the Frosty, the yogurt for only $1.50, and the foot-long hot dog for, it's all cheap, and a big pizza, and everybody's that line to get the big pizza for $10, and the grease is dripping off. And I used to be one of those who couldn't wait to get in that line to get all of it. I mean, I would get everything because I was addicted to the product in which they were marketing to me. But what you have to realize, and you're kind of saying, you and your husband, you and Ken going out there and playing Frisbee and you're eating the right food. I think when you feed your brain and not take the bait on which they constantly are peddling to you and marketing to you, I mean, it doesn't matter what store you go into at the cash register, there's going to be candy there, because they know that your mind will go, ooh, Hershey chocolate, ooh, Reese's, oh, a Kit Kat, ooh, Payday Bar, Milky Way, ooh, I got to get one of these, because they know if they get you and you're in a weak state and you have money because you're at the register, you're going to pick it up and buy it. Or your kids are going to go, oh, mommy, oh, daddy, I want to buy that. And the cycle continues. And we take them to the white coats. We take our kids to the white coats and we bring them right up to the same way they want us to do. They do enough to keep you so you can live another 6 months to come see them. But nothing is ever really diagnosed to the point where here is how we resolve this issue. You need to, what are you taking in? What foods? What are you eating? How much are you eating? What are you drinking? Are you doing anything outside of those? Are you, so none of those questions are ever asked. All it's ever asked is, here you go. But I truly believe by living a clean keto or carnivore lifestyle, you do feed your brain, and all of a sudden you start to be more of who you were created to be. And you want to be with your spouse. You want to be active. You want to go do things. You start to think more clear, and you can work on the things as you worked on. I know Brian, he's got his own story. Brian, you had very similar story as Carrie. You had to pretty much get rid of everything, and I'll let you speak on this, but that's kind of the path that you followed as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mine actually started with sobriety. And once that happened, then I started looking at other areas in my life that needed to be worked on. And the health was a major one, because I just put my body through this mess in the 90s. And it was like, now that the drugs and the alcohol are gone, I want to be healthy again. And that's what started me on that journey. And it's been a long one. I mean, I'm still working on it. And like Carrie, you were mentioning, I'll go to the store and I'll still see something, like I'll see a carrot cake, or like at a diner, you walk by that dessert case and I still see that stuff. But I don't have any intention to buy it. But if I let myself, if I obsess on it, I can talk myself into it. And so I have to sort of, I have to keep that, and I have to keep it in mind why I don't eat that stuff anymore. And
the why.
Yeah. So yeah, those temptations are still there. They never go away. And it's just like my sobriety. It's one day at a time. And I kind of have to put all that junk in with the drugs and the alcohol to keep from doing it, because it's the exact same process, this exact same addiction. You can't just do it once. It's like just thinking, oh, I can just take one drink and I'll be fine. But no, it's not, it doesn't work like that. So it's the same with sugar for me. I mean, maybe some people can get away with it, but I can't. I know I can't, because I know how my mind works. And my mind is a scary thing when I let it do what it wants to do.
Well, I'm actually glad that we're talking about this with food being an addiction. Truly. I'm glad, because that's the part that people aren't willing to really recognize and to see it for what it is, the food addictions that are out there, because it's socially acceptable, right? It totally is socially acceptable. Mm-hmm. It's everything is based around it. Our whole social environment is based around food. And I know that that's one of the hardest things with transferring into a keto or a carnivore diet, is that in the social life, unless your friends are also doing a keto lifestyle or a carnivore lifestyle, there is a lot of misunderstanding. And then it becomes personal, right? Instead of looking at it objectively, all of a sudden it becomes subjective. Trying to go to somebody's, well, you're not respecting me, I'm serving you this food.
Right.
And then you have to try to explain it and justify it. It is extremely difficult. And that has to be something that has to be taken in consideration environment as well. Because I think that's one of the reasons why people will stop doing keto or carnivore, is for that element. And are you willing to really take a look at that, of what it is with your social life and the impact that it's making? Is the social life and your friends and that relationship more important than your health? Is it more important to make your friends happy by eating the food that they're offering you, or is it you taking the personal responsibility so you can be around longer for your friend by saying, no, it has nothing to do with you. It is not subjective here. This is an objective situation. I didn't come over for your food. I came over for you. I appreciate that that's the way the whole socializing environment has been built upon. But how about we just go back to the lovely, can I get you a glass of water?
Yeah.
Can I bring you a piece of chocolate cake with that? How about we just simplify everything? Because that's the one thing I found out. When you go into like the carnivore diet, and especially with intermittent fasting, how much more time I have in my life that's not spent in the freaking kitchen eating 6 meals a day. Truly. Or hours shopping to get all the ingredients and going on the inner aisles when I just kind of go in and go out. My life is so much more simple since I switched over to carnivore. Like, I cannot believe how much time I have and intermittent fasting.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. And talking about going to the stores, not having to go to the stores, we're going to welcome aboard Mr. Brian Schenker of the Meat Tribe, and hopefully he's going to give you some reasons for us to go into the stores. Hopefully he's got some meat deals of the week that we can take advantage of. So welcome, Brian. What do you have for us this week?
Thanks. So I'm mobile again, so that's why you see me wiggling around. I'm trying to figure out how to hold my phone and my old school piece of paper with the deals. But yes, I do have some pretty good deals for you guys. So the first one is, okay, first deal. Food Line runs through the 31st of May. It's a bone-in T-bone steak for $9.99 per pound. They that's the only one from Food Line. Next door, Harris Teeter. We've got some really good deals. Harris Teeter's deals run through the 31st. They've got their ribeyes on sale. The boneless ribeyes are on sale again. So they've got the small pack rancher grade for $8.49. What's that?
I'm happy. No, go on. You got me. I'm heading to Harris Teeter.
Okay. So the rancher small pack boneless ribeye steaks for $8.49. The value pack is $7.99, and then a choice grade ribeye steaks or roasts for $8.99 a pound. And while you're there, go ahead and pick some 80% lean ground beef up for $2.99 per pound.
Wow.
So you've got a good deal there.
So is it 85-15?
80-20.
Okay, gotcha.
And then so those are the deals from Harris Teeter, the ribeyes and the ground chuck. Kroger's got a deal running through the 31st. They've got Brian, they've got some choice grade ribeye steak family pack. $2 digital coupon brings it down to $7.97 per pound.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then a few deals from Giant Eagle. Their deals run through June 1st. They've got 80% lean ground beef for $2.99 as well. Bone-in New York strip steaks for $9.99, and some whole briskets, either certified Angus beef for $5.49 a pound or prime grade for $6.99 per pound. Brian, are those good prices for the briskets?
How much a pound? Sorry, I was
$5.49 a pound for certified Angus beef and $6.99 per pound for prime grade.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the average kind of sale price.
Okay, good.
Well, I know where I'm heading after we finish recording this. I'm definitely heading to my favorite store to get meat, Harris Teeter. Anything else?
Yeah.
Any other stores?
No, that's it. I was happy to see those ribeye deals at Harris Teeter. I'm gonna. Last time they had them on sale, I bought the rancher grade. I thought they had good marbling and everything, but after I cooked them, they didn't live up to my expectations. So this time I'm gonna spend the extra $1 per pound and get the choice grade.
There you go. Well, thanks for jumping on and giving us those meat deals of the week. And if people want to follow what other meat deals happen during the week, go to his MeatTribe YouTube channel, and he's always updating that with the latest sales going on. So, and if you've come across a sale, contribute to him, send it to him, put it on his page. Let all of us be aware of good deals on meats.
Yeah, don't keep them a secret. Let everybody know.
Absolutely. All right, brother. Well, great seeing you, and we'll look forward to having you and seeing you next Friday.
Sounds good. Take care,
all
everyone.
Right, take care. We'll
Yeah.
see you. That's perfect timing talking about stores. But Carrie and Brian and what you guys are sharing with people, I hope they're hearing the fact that you have to take accountability for yourself and get to that place where, what, I need to figure this out. Somebody else figuring out it's not going to help me get to where I want to get to without someone giving me instructions of what I need to be doing. And if the blind are the one giving you the instructions of where to turn left, where to turn right, where to go straight, when to eat, what to eat, how many times to eat this, eat that, and none of it is really good for you and how your body has been created and what it craves and what it needs, then the only way to do it is to eliminate everything, start with a clean slate, and start to try different things that will benefit you. And the true indicator that it's benefiting you is you're going to feel better. You're not going to be as inflamed. Your joints are not going to hurt. You're going to want to start over a period of time. You're going to start to want to be active. You may not be active now, maybe, 100 pounds overweight, but when you start taking accountability and following your own path, it's amazing what starts to happen and how more creative you become. You're talking about throwing the Frisbee. Stephen Found, who we've had on the show, as a guest before. We got together on Tuesday or Monday. No, Monday. We got together on Monday and we played pickleball. We were out there playing pickleball, just him and I, singles, played for about 45 minutes. Great workout. And I'm like, wow, I'm not even breathing hard. Like, I could not have done that 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I'd have been get the paddles ready because I don't think I'm going to make it home. Now I just feel good. I'm tired and I feel great. And I'm so appreciative that I can do that. And I know that's because of the fuel I'm putting in my body. So when you start to look at food as fuel, that is your health plan. You have control over your health plan. But we believe because we write a check to some company, give them $1,200 to Blue Cross, that all of a sudden, or we got Obamacare, we believe I got help. And they program you to believe that you have health care because you wrote a check to the corporation or to the insurance company. And then you go see the doctor. Doctor says I need to be on this, I need to take this, I need to take that. And he told me, and this is Brian, we can manage this. Brian, I think we can manage this as long as you have to take this. Now, I don't know if you're going to take this for the next 50 years, but we'll monitor it. But that's where we're at.
Well, yeah, Carrie, you mentioned that earlier, how they're all in it together. I mean, you didn't mention the insurance companies, but that's all. I mean, it's all, that you're paying them. They send you to the doctor prescribes the pills that the drug companies have. It's this whole thing.
But here's the thing. The insurance companies will not pay unless you have a really good insurance company for you to go to a naturopath.
Nope.
Right. And
right?
I have a good friend that is he's having some lung issues, and his doctor thinks maybe it's he's beginning stages of what is it, COPD? What is that lung thing?
Yeah.
And wanted him to get a CT scan, or I forget what kind of scan, just to see his lungs. His insurance company says no, that they don't think it's necessary. Like, it's crazy. They'd rather him just take whatever medication for the cough.
And what's really interesting on that you mentioned that there's actually a book. It's got a yellow cover, and I don't remember if the title is Just Breathe. It's on my bookshelf. It's not within reach right now for me to get it, but there is a book, and I'm not talking about like the Wim Hof method, but there's a gentleman that did research on breath and the importance of breath. And my mother has recently been diagnosed with COPD, and she doesn't smoke, but she has a form of leukemia that she has been keeping at bay because her food choices and what she's done to take back her health. When she got this book, she started doing and reading it because all the research is there, the incredible stories. Wim Hof is mentioned in there. She started doing the breathing exercises, and her lung capacity is even better now than when she was diagnosed with the COPD, because she's doing something about it by taking personal responsibility and being active in the role to increase her breathing, instead of having the doctor come and say, this is what the prognosis is, this is what we want you to do, this is the medication you need, and this is where you're going to head. My mom has fought for her health for 10 years now, and she's doing phenomenal, but not because she has done what the white coats told her to. She sought other resources to do it naturally, and then her be accountable for her own healing process, because it's all right there. It is amazing what our bodies will do if we partner with what the body is telling us to do. So, I look at this as everything coming and stemming from a spiritual nature. When we tune into our heart, we tune into our innate, we listen to our body and let that speak to us instead of something external, everything is going to change, and you'll be able to navigate the waters so much more smoothly, especially if you go to a medical practitioner that is not of the white coat nature, that doesn't have pharmaceuticals greasing and lining their pockets, that'll say, do you know that a tweak in your food will make a difference? Do you know that maybe if you spend some grounding time in nature, how much that will heal your body and help you with that inflammation that you're dealing with? How about us actually teaching you about food and the essential amino acids that you need, because you think you're getting from a vegetarian diet and you're not. Well, let's begin to educate you, and let's deal with those thought forms, those egregores that we have formed which is the pharmaceutical companies and the medical companies, that they are the cure all be all end all. It's a thought form. It's not truth. It's just a thought form that we believe in. Let's deal with all of that, and let's just start cutting all of that stuff away. Let's begin simplifying it, and let's start with here first.
Absolutely.
Let's start with here first, and then work our way out.
The I within you will lead you into all truth. And
bingo. That's the Aramaic phrase, enana, the I within the I. The enana, the innate self, will lead you into all truth. In all things.
So, right, in all things. So you don't need in all things. And so, you know, when you need something, I mean, it's not saying that you're going to need something outside of you, but you will be led to go do that. I mean, Brian came home Monday night with a leaky. Now, I'm sure he could have figured it out, but at that time of day, you call somebody who that's what they do. That's what they do. So you call somebody else who they know what to do. They do. And you're not trying to fix you, you're fixing something outside of you. And you call the person who's the specialty that they can do that. But when we're talking about you and your own body, your own hot water tank, you know, only you knows what works and what doesn't. And so we just have to literally grow some fortitude and be able to realize that when somebody outside of us is telling us to go do this or do that, to be able to say, you know what, I hear what you're saying. I used to do that, but I'm not going to do that anymore. And when we start to break away, and I know this sounds like people are probably going, yeah, but then what about what happened? What do we need? Are you saying not to go to doctors? No, there's times that you do need to go. But the first remedy should always be a natural remedy. It always should be something that you're in control of. I mean, if you live in the middle of the woods, like the Native Americans did, or the Indians did, they didn't go travel into town to go see a doctor. They had their own medicines they were experimenting with and what worked. And those were all natural medicines. They were using the medicines that grow in their community.
Right.
And
yeah. For me,
go ahead,
Brian. I was just going to add, for me personally, the doctor is the last resort.
Yeah.
That's right. They're good for trauma and acute things. Like, I'm really grateful for the emergency room. Those medical doctors that will bring you back from the brink of death so that you can, that is so important. And I mean, there's just a time and a place for acute trauma that needs medical attention now. I am so grateful for that. I am so grateful for that. But for the long care terms and needs of my body, maybe not so much.
Right. For the maintenance of it, that's an individual responsibility. But if you break a bone, you're in a car crash, you need stitches. You gotta go. There's no doubt. You're not going to be able to do that. But even in some cases, you know, there is a lot of stuff. Joe
Dispenza.
Joe Dispenza. That's who I was. I couldn't think of his last name for some reason. Yeah, Joe Dispenza. I mean, he's a perfect example of utilizing your energy within you to heal what may be ailing you. And so there's different paths to go. But
yes,
you know, I just wish people could take time out of and just take some time. I believe we're in such a hurry to get to nowhere that we believe that we don't have time to make up our own decisions, that we have to give that to somebody else, all because we have to keep the wheel going around and around and around and around. And it's literally costing people's lives and years off their lives. And, you know, when I go to Wally World to pick up heavy whipping cream, and I see kids in line with those sugar flavor popsicles and the sugar drinks and the cases and cases of sodas and the Doritos and the cookies and the cereals, all, you know, and that mom's buying them stuff that she knows that they love, and they'll eat that because Johnny won't eat a T-bone steak or a ribeye. I have to give him this. This is all he won't eat. But, you know, it is what it is. I just know for myself is that when I stopped listening to the advice outside of myself and started listening to the I within me, I'm so much more at peace. I'm so able to enjoy life, and it's so much different. And there's probably a word for this, and Carrie may tell me what it is. There's a knowing that cannot be verbalized that resonates in me when I know I'm walking out and living out truth that has been spoken to me. And I think that's where, that's where I'm at. And, people who've known me for a long time, some of those, it causes friction, it causes them, but you can't keep doing that. You got to do this. What do you mean you don't have health insurance? What do you mean you don't have this? And that's that world over there. And, some people are still living it. And I acknowledge that world. I know it's out there. I observe it. I just don't choose to participate in it anymore. And because Peggy and I have chose not to participate in it anymore, we have so much more time to literally enjoy the simple things of life. Like my bird's chirping right now.
Exactly. And there is a word, it's da'at. It's to know intimately, to see from within, that will complete your journey, changing your signature frequency. So it is that has been extended and expanded from the heart level beyond. It's that intimate knowledge that you're right. Once you partner with it, it can't be taken from you, because you had to go and seek it and find it, and you become one with it. You become complete with that knowledge. It's like that, it just becomes you. You are it. So like when you started at the beginning and you said about us being, but that's really been on your heart. Well, da'at is part of that, because once you get into the intimate knowledge, and by the way, on the tree of life, where is it found? It's your heart. Once you become one with that, then you are in the place of being, which is Haya. It's like these beautiful revelations that empower your heart, a spark of life that you grab a hold of. It's the work and deed of your very own hand, your very own energy that you're putting into, that is revealing something greater so that you can simply be. And for people who say they don't have time, I call bunk. Because the reason for that, if you were to literally stop, just take one day and become aware of what you're doing from the moment you wake up into the moment you go to bed, and look and see where your time is going. If anybody's on Facebook, I'm sure that you can say that you've spent at least an hour a day on Facebook, maybe even more, those who are addicted to it. Why not take a break from Facebook for 30 days? Turn it off. If you spend 4 hours a day on it because you didn't realize, you just got 4 hours back. You just got 4 hours back. How much television do you watch? Do you sit for 3 hours in the evening watching your programs? What are those programs benefiting you? Are you addicted to television? Because it's telling you a bunch of lies, and it'll show all the pharmaceutical ads, and it'll show you food porn and how the burgers look, and then they're all juicy and dripping. And, how much lies are you putting in front of? 4 hours in Facebook and 3 hours at night on TV? That's a freaking work day. That's 7 hours that you could be doing something else. I get a little forceful when I talk about this, because these are things that I've intimately had to take a look at it myself. And my husband and I had to cut away some of the material things in our life to focus and live what we're doing right now. We literally sold all of our possessions. We got down to a truck with a canopy with some camping gear on the back, and we went on a wild trip with the spirit to get us where we are at today. I am not caught in the rat race. I totally removed myself from that material realm that would suck all my energy in order to continue shoring up the things that are taking away or are feeding parasitically on us. And we chose to take our power back so that we could walk in sovereignty, to be able to make these decisions so that we could clearly see what was going on, to have awareness in all the systems, in all of them, starting from the inside out. And so there are choices to be made, but are you honest enough to look at it? That's the difficulty in it. Are you brave enough to go within and acknowledge these things and really begin to take stock of what your life looks like, where your energy is going, where you're spending your money, where your time is, what is most important to you? Because I'll tell you, for me, because I equate everything to spiritual. For me, it was the scariest journey I ever took, but the most rewarding. And it brings me here today, where I am at, having this conversation with you guys. And I wouldn't change a darn thing. Not one darn thing.
I think that's beautiful. And I commend you and Ken for doing that. And, you know, I wish I mean, there's a yearning in me to do the exact same thing that you guys did. And Peggy and I have talked about that.
It's scary as hell.
No, but you know, it's so free now. I'm looking out my windows. You guys can hear the birds chirping throughout the show tonight. But you know, birds get up. I mean, they're happy. They're singing. They go eat their food. They spend their day just singing and having a great day. Then they nest. And you don't see
they're
birds.
Being.
You don't. Yeah, they're being. You don't see birds getting up and okay, hey Fred, we got to fly into DC. We got to go to work today, carrying a little suitcase so we can get food to go buy the food that's already out there in our. I mean, we have so complicated life because of the thought forms that's been programmed. I always go back now to my buddy Steve's favorite album, Pink Floyd, The Wall, and what the message was through that album. And here we are living the results of letting others educate, program us, thought forms. And this is where we're at. And until we break free from that and do what Brian's going to tell you to do next, there's this one little hack that Brian's going to give you. If you watch this far of the show and you go, well, you know, what do I do? One simple hack is going to help improve your health, boost your immunity system, and strengthen your immune system and bring you energy. And what would that be, Brian?
That would be eat your meat.
And it's as simple as that. And with that being said, Brian, are you guys playing anywhere this week?
No, actually.
All right. Got another week to be, another weekend to be.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop in. There's this convention thing going on here in Nashville. And a friend of mine invited me down. So I'm gonna drop in there and check it out. There's like this little jam session, so I agreed to play a song. So
cool, awesome, that's awesome. Carrie, what are you and Ken got up to this weekend?
Absolutely nothing. We're just going to enjoy being. We'll probably go out. We might do some morel hunting this weekend, see if some morel mushrooms are out, simply because I have family and people that really enjoy them. We're not eating them anymore, but you know, if I can make somebody else happy by giving them some morels, because they can't physically go out and do that, morel hunting, especially climbing up in the mountains, we're going to do that. But after we get done right here, I'm going out to play some Frisbee.
There you go. That's perfect. Yeah, I love Peggy and I want to go morel hunting. We go out and look for mushrooms, but it's fun. I'd love to get some morels. Absolutely. Just to let everybody know, next Friday night we're gonna have a special guest named Jacqueline Nicole. She's out of California. She's a healer. She's going to talk about grounding and about healing as well as spiritual healing. So make sure you guys tune back next Friday. And before you sign off tonight, please just like like the thumbs up, give us a thumbs up on this, and share it with your friends. And with that being said, we will see you next Friday. In the meantime, stay safe, stay well, and stay out of the hospital. We'll see everybody. Carrie, thanks for coming on. It's always an honor to have you on.
Thank you. I'll see you guys next month. Namaste.
All right, sounds good. Take care.